Hello, everybody, and welcome to take two of Crimson and Mole looking at the news. Some answers in Genesis articles. Sorry about that, everybody. I
No
had
more
some,
divine intervention.
God smited our stream down. He was upset. It's Sunday. We should be honoring the Lord, and instead, we're talking shit. So,
Sounds like a plan.
all right, let me get back to where I was, and so Shane, bear with us. We'll just chitter chatter between ourselves while I'm pulling that up. So what's new with you, buddy?
Same shit, different day. How's it
Yeah,
going with you?
it's going all right. Besides my little snafu there, I suppose. It's getting close to Halloween. Looking forward to meeting Godless Engineer and Godless Iwan and all them in person. That's going to be cool. Really looking forward to
Oh, right
that.
on.
Yeah, because uh, Matt and Jen's wedding is Halloween day, so that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going for I'm gonna because it's gonna be a costume wedding, so I think I'm gonna be a fat bearded nun. I think I want to be a nun.
Ah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah,
Very sacrilegious. I like it.
I'll be the unholy nun. I asked Jen. I said, would it be too much if my crucifix looked like a dildo? She said, well, there will be family there. So I said, all right, I'll just use a regular one then. But I tried. I did try. I was going to be Sister McFister. I thought that was.
Oh, that'd be
Did,
awesome.
didn't I start? Well, we're live. It doesn't say I'm live on my. Oh, now it's working. Okay. Ooh, that freaked me out a little bit. I was like, because I went to my chat page and nothing was going on. I was like, what the hell's going on? So, could
Don't
you
tell me
guys hear
divine
all?
intervention
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Uh, put a comment in the chat if you heard all of that, or if like you missed everything me and Crimson were talking about. Let me know, please. But anyway,
That would be most helpful.
what we were talking about was we were talking about in Maryland. There's a in an elementary school they have a small wooden sign and it says "Our Daily Bread." And somebody from the FFRF, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, went in and told them, hey, you need to take that sign down because it's infringing upon the other children's constitutional rights to be free from religion. And I don't think that's the thing with
Hmm.
Christians. When they hear freedom of religion, I think what they hear is they're free to push the religion. When in reality, that means you have the freedom to practice your religion, but I have the freedom to be free of it as well. I don't have to subject my kids to it. Yeah.
Exactly.
It only says our daily bread, and in the article they say that that's the school is neither preaching nor brainwashing by means of the sign. Because since the school almost certainly teaches Darwinian evolution as part of its science curriculum, they are completely promoting humanism and naturalism as the state religion and brainwashing impressionable children with the belief that they are just animals. See, that's the thing. Like they want to push their beliefs and push it as fact. And
Yep.
they're trying to compare science and reality with fucking fantasy and belief, and it's not the same thing. It's apples and oranges. They can't equate the two. Now,
Yeah. Nothing upsets me more than when they try to equate science to religion and faith.
yes, like I mean, if a child wants to pray at school and they do it in their own, but on their own, or if like
Hmm.
that's fine. Do your thing, man. But when it's a sign that everybody can see, that's where I have the problem with it. Would they? I mean, that'd be just like putting Quran sayings up on the wall, or putting fucking sayings
Yeah.
from the Bhagavad Gita up on the wall. Would they? Do you think Ken Ham would be okay with that? Do you think it's They don't think of it as a First Amendment issue, but go and fucking put put up a different religion saying and see what they have to say about that. I almost guarantee you
Yeah,
that
yeah.
there'd be a totally different take on the way that they
Oh
you know
yeah,
they
Ken
want.
Ham would lose his shit if they put up something about the many faces of Vishnu.
Yeah, of course. Um, Hi, Lynn. I haven't seen you in a while. Snail. Shane, hello, as usual. Shane's always Shane's a fixture always. Shane is one of the most supportive atheists in the atheist community I know. I bet I've seen him in
Yeah, I
almost
see him everywhere.
every chat room I go to. Seriously, every chat room I go to, Shane is always in there. So
Yeah, I see him everywhere, and it's always hello humans. He never says hello to the fuck mothering vampire.
yeah, I do too, Snail. When the Satanic Temple goes out and flexes their religious rights, just because it pisses Christians off so much, it's lovely. They
Oh
ought to,
yeah, like that courthouse.
yeah, you know how some
Okay.
they should have the nine Christians like that shit. Eventually, they wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Because like there was that courthouse that put up the monument to the Ten Commandments because private funding allowed it to be built. So the Satanic Temple moved in a statue of what was it, Bahamut?
Baphomet, I think
Yep,
A Baphomet statue. That's cool. That is
yep.
fire is fire, man. And that's the thing is that's just like what I was talking about is Christians confuse the freedom of religion as they're free to push their religion on people, and that's not the way it is. You're free to practice no religion as well, and I don't need it shoved down my fucking throat.
Hmm.
You know
Yeah, you
that
can have
they
your
don't.
religion and your Bible. I don't need it. Don't push it on me.
Well, you know, like how I know some people that like let their kids go with their friends to Bible school or whatever. You know, yeah, okay, that's fine, but don't tell me that children aren't fucking impressionable because you know them kids come home and they're talking about Jesus and all that shit. And I'm
Hmm.
like,
Oh
so I
yeah.
mean, they're just children. I
mean,
mean,
have you ever talked to a 4-year-old? They'll believe whatever the hell you tell them. You could
yeah,
go, the
exactly,
sky is made of candy, and they
right,
will believe it.
right, and I mean, like that's unfair. I mean, there's no way you can keep them shielded from religion completely. I mean, we do live in the in the Western in the Western society. They're gonna see it somewhere because unfortunately
Yep.
Christianity is predominantly all over Western society, but it shouldn't be in schools, but at all. I mean, unless you go to a Christian school,
No.
then there should be nothing religious whatsoever involved. I mean, that's just the
Oh
way it
no.
is.
A publicly funded, publicly built school, no religion. None. Not a single one. That's government. As soon as
And,
you allow religion into a school, it is by de facto a government endorsing a religion. Then we have a government religion, which puts you under legal penalties if you don't follow it. Blasphemy laws.
right. And the article goes on to say that they also requested that the Hartford County School District make sure there aren't any other unconstitutional religious plaques. And they have that in quotes, of course. The veiled threat behind the letter is, of course, that if the FFRF may initiate a lawsuit if the school does not meet their demands, well, fuck yeah, they should. There should be a
Damn straight.
separation, and they might not think of the school as the state, but if it's a public school, then it's fucking of the state. Um,
Yep.
and they all so then they go on to equate. Well, what are they going to do next? Ban old English style lettering? Quit fucking trying to. It isn't the sign itself. It's the message behind the sign. It's the
Are they
implications of
trying to
those.
equate maintaining the separation of church and state to teaching cursive writing?
Something. Who knows? So then it goes on to say it's not enough that evolution, humanism, and atheism are all taught or inferred in parentheses as fact and are promoted state religion. Um, I get tired of hearing that fucking evolution is religion. Evolution's religion, and
God, that
atheism.
pisses me off so
Uh,
much.
but it's not enough that any mention of God or biblical reference are outlawed in public schools. No, the FFRF even wants to take away any allusion to the Bible and wants to label anything remotely Christian as brainwashing. You see, they always take that persecution stance, like, oh, they're persecuting us. So I'm like, how if
Oh
they don't
God.
know what persecution is. I mean, like, have you ever like? I didn't used to think that being an atheist like really made all that much difference, you know. But I mean, if I do make an attempt to talk to someone about atheism, like outside of like my internet friends, like you
Hmm.
really, I mean, even people that aren't real religious, like that just goes to show you how indoctrinated people can get as seeing that shit as a small
Uh-huh.
child. Because even people that aren't really religious still have that niggling fear in the back of their head is, oh, I can't talk shit on God, you know, because something bad. I mean, it's a super, you know, they're
Hmm.
superstitious, and you know, I mean, like, because I'll talk to people. I'll be like, well, you're not religious. Why does it bother you to say you're an atheist? They're like, well, you never know, man. There might be a God, and that Pascal's wager shit just doesn't do it for me. I mean, it I mean it shows you have no integrity if you're willing to believe something just in case. I mean that's I
Yeah.
mean if you
The
know
threat of punishment.
yeah
I mean,
that,
if I'm right, you go to hell. If you're right, we just go away. So why not just believe what I believe? Because
yeah
you're a morally bankrupt piece of shit. If that's all it takes for you to believe something.
yeah and in the chat main gun oh 07 says they were talking about many Christians believe the First Amendment somehow affirms that this is a Christian nation. You're absolutely right, they do think that, and if they will fight you tooth and nail if you mention to them that, to be honest, most of our founding fathers were deists. If anything, they weren't Christians. Like Thomas Jefferson, he read the Bible, but I would call him more of a deist than a theist. I mean, like
Hmm.
he made his own Bible, like he cut parts of it out and shit. Like so, he was just putting, you know, I think he was just put because there are some moral tales in the Bible that were probably used in the past to teach the difference between right and wrong. But that doesn't mean that the Bible is what gives right and wrong its power. You know, it's just a teaching tool like any other. You know, I mean, there weren't
Hmm.
exactly a lot of books back in the old days. So what book was there? There was the Bible. And that's, I mean, people learned how to read by fucking reading the Bible. People learned about right, you know, but that doesn't
Yep.
mean that's where morals come from. That's my thing, you know. Oh, and welcome,
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
way, main gun. Um, I've never seen you here before, but I'm glad to see you. So yeah, they're just like they're always for. I mean, Answers in Genesis is always and forever like complaining about shit like that.
Oh yeah.
There's another article. Oh, go ahead, Crimson.
Yeah,
What were you
I was
saying?
just going to say the victim stance and persecution complex is strong with them.
Oh,
I
very
mean,
strong.
someone in Europe, in well, actually Pakistan, gets convicted of a blasphemy law that happened to be a Christian, and suddenly it's our American culture that is allowing this to happen. Um, how does that track?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't think. I don't know. I'll just leave that alone. I found out. Here's another article. Let's see what they have to say about. They're going to be probably pissed about this one because Christian University changes back positions on same-sex relationship between students.
Ah,
Now, the Zuzu Pacific University has recently announced in the student-run campus newspaper, but then reversed course later, that the restriction on same-sex relationships between students was being lifted, effective immediately at the start of the fall semester. Bill Fiala, PhD Associate Dean of Students, made a few statements for the paper regarding the decision. The change that happened with the code of conduct is still in alignment with our identity as Christian institution. The language changed, but the spirit didn't. Our spirit is still a conservative, evangelical perspective on human sexuality. So I have to ask, okay, here this is the article. So I have to ask, what does Christian, in quotes, in evangelical mean? To allow for same-sex relationships is to condone a behavior as the Bible calls sin. All sex outside of biblical marriage is sin. So if a Christian institution allows for same-sex relationships and calls itself Christian and evangelical, one can no longer assume these terms mean what they used to. So the
I
shoes on the other foot now for old answers in Genesis, changing word meanings, huh? You like that?
I can feel the cancer setting in already.
Yeah, I bet it drives them batshit crazy. And see, I mean, like that's what I mean. Like, okay, even if like you are a Christian and you do believe being gay is a sin, okay, I mean, but to be so vocal about it, uh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know. I think like that. How can I don't understand how Christians can I don't know how to put this. All right, so like we
Mm.
fight we have little what would you call conversations with Christians on Twitter, for instance, right? And we don't see eye to eye. But the thing is even between the different camps in religion, they can't see eye to eye on just small dogmatic issues. So I mean,
Yeah.
how 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 uh, arrogant do you have to be to believe that your religion, out of 2 fucking thousand sects, is the exact right way to follow God's word of law or whatnot? Because you can interpret something any way you want to. You know what I mean? So that's the funny thing
Hmm.
is like I get a kick out of watching Christians fight other Christians. I think it's hilarious. Like
Oh,
and the way
I
they
love it when I can get them at each other. It's
yeah,
great.
like one of the churches is really good for that is the New Independent Fundamental Baptist or whatever the NIFB or what you know what I'm talking about, like Steve
Yeah.
Anderson and Matt Powell and them. They're
Hmm.
they're really good at the name dropping thing. Like if they don't agree with another church, they call them sinners and fucking all God knows what.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh
but
yeah.
according to the campus newspaper, the two main things that influenced this decision were some anti-LGBTQ slurs targeting an APU facility or faculty member, and the complaint by some students that the code of conduct unfairly targeted LGBTQ people. Now, insulting and demeaning people is not an acceptable way for Christians to behave. Oh, okay, you guys never do that, do you? But I find it amazing that one such incident can be so inflammatory when Christians are often called haters, homophobes, transphobes, etc., simply because they believe the Bible's definition of marriage and sexuality. Yes, you are called
Well,
haters, homophobes, because you are haters and homophobes because
they
of your
are.
in the
If the
Bible.
shoe fits.
Right, no matter why you're called. I mean, if you are actually what you are, then if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. It's just the way it is.
And interestingly enough, they've stressed biblical marriage a few times in this article. So I feel compelled to point out that biblical marriage is not between one man and one woman. It's between one man and however many women he can afford to keep in his house, however many sex slaves he can afford to keep, and his wife's sisters when their husbands die.
Right.
And he's good to do anything. Also, he can go out and fuck an unmarried woman, and that's not adultery by biblical marriage because
Yeah.
she's not married.
Right. And the funny thing is Christians always rail on and on about how they live their life according to the Bible. Well, then fucking start listening to all of it. Then fucking stop eating shellfish. Stop mixing your
Hmm.
lips. Like
No shrimp,
start
no
fucking if
shrimp,
you
no
you know
polyester.
yeah
Don't patch a damn thing. Oh, I
right
better not find a patch on your clothes.
right. So I mean, like they cherry pick, and that's the funny thing is like they claim to be all self righteous and holy, but I mean they all pick and choose what is convenient for their life. You know, like they
Oh
say
yeah.
that. I like it when atheists, or when they say, or atheists just they just want to sin. Like what? Like, I mean, yeah, I do enjoy what they call sinning. So yeah, maybe I do want to sin, but that has nothing to do with my belief in God or disbelief in God. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a silly
I
equation.
mean, what they call sin is everything fun. So
Essentially, yeah, essentially it is pretty much. I mean, and like Christians, like I was telling you about that morality thing. I was fighting with that guy on Twitter earlier. Is that they can't see the fact that morals came about because they needed to come about. If you don't have some kind of rules in society, then that society will
hmm
break down. So of course, I mean the
yeah.
important ones were not to covet your neighbor. That's because back in them days, everybody, it was like living in a village of everybody knew each other. So if you were to go and fuck your neighbor's wife, you're going to cause turmoil in the whole village. I mean, so that made sense back then. It worked for them back then. So them rules at one
hmm
time were appropriate for the time. Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, some of them were a little. I mean, most of them were a little overboard. I mean, I enjoy getting
Yeah, but some of
stoned,
the
but
dietary
then,
rules made sense. I mean, back then
yeah,
a pork chop could kill you.
yeah, because back then they had no refrigeration. So, like I said, it was appropriate for the time. But they can't translate a 2,000-year-old fucking 2,000-year-old set of rules into modern day society and expect it to work. Is what I'm saying. You
I,
know?
especially considering the way they just cherry pick out of the book. And something that's always bugged me about this is they always go on and on about their 10 commandments, the 10 commandments, these are the most important things. But the problem is, you point out that those are Mosaic law from, Moses came down from the mountain with these commandments and developed a fuck ton more, something like 613 total commandments. But they tell you that Jesus ended Mosaic law, so their 10 commandments are void.
Yeah, but then also Jesus says that he came to not change anything. Not
hmm
what's the wording he uses? Not a
It
dot
is
or a
easier.
tittle or
It is easier for the tallest mountain or the smallest grain of sand to pass away than the word of God, the law of God, be altered.
yeah. Yeah, so I just I don't get how Christians like I don't understand how they I mean like I don't know like how they can be so intellectually dishonest about the things they believe. I mean, what they believe is what they believe, but what blows me away is their dishonesty
The,
on the things
the
they
level
believe,
of
you know?
cognitive dissonance needed, yeah,
Yes,
and
it's
the cherry
fucking
picking.
it's mind blowing.
Oh,
Mind blowing.
because you talk to any of them, and they'll tell you Jesus was a peace loving man. One of his primary things, one of the first things he's ever said in the Bible was, I did not come to bring peace, I came to bring the sword. I came to tear family apart, father from son and daughter from mother, and set them against each other. That's
Right.
Jesus.
I'm gonna ask anybody if they want to if they want to join. We can all do a little chat if you don't mind. If anybody wants to come in, come on in, or let me know and I'll send you a link. Anywho,
Yeah, the water's fine. Jump on in.
because an atheist or Snail wanted to yesterday and she couldn't get it to work. If she
Yeah.
can today, I'll be more than happy to send her a link.
You hear that, Snail? Your mic won't brick today, right?
Alrighty. Do 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 do.
We. It's a race to send a link
Yeah,
if I can ever get Twitter to load.
yeah, Shane. If you're ever to join the hangout, you're more than welcome to just stay silent if that's what you want to do. I'll send you a link now. If you want to jump in, jump in. I don't have no objections to that. Do, 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 do.
Hey, Mangun wants to hop in.
You want to send a link to Snail?
I just sent it off.
Okay, cool. And do I follow or do you follow me on do you follow me, main gun, on Twitter by any chance? I suppose I could just put it in the chat. I suppose not too many people are really watching, so bam. There you go. Hop in if you want to. Links in the chat. Make it a free for all. Fuck it.
Oh yeah, we covered a couple news articles, got way off track. Let's just let's kill it.
That's how my streams seem to run anyway. I don't mind. I like to just chat with people. I mean, I enjoy it because, like I said, I mean, I'm sure that you live in a similar situation to me. Like, it's really hard to find people in it. Like, I live in a smaller town, as do most people in America. I mean, we live in smaller rural towns, you know. So I mean, it's really hard to find.
Fact about my town.
Yeah.
Is just a few years ago, I was technically a villager.
Oh yeah,
That's how small my town is. Uh-huh.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey, hello, Snail.
Hello. Uh-oh.
Howdy. How are you?
And Mangun, greetings.
Greetings. All right, I'll hop over to the Google page so I can see who's in here for now. And Shane said he might join, but he said if he does, he wants to just keep quiet. I said that's fine if you want. I don't know why he's so shy, but that's fine. I'm not going to infringe upon anybody's wishes. They want to remain silent. Snail, we follow each other on Twitter, don't we?
I think so.
I couldn't find you. What is your Twitter thing?
At atheistic snail.
I don't know. I
bring her up with @snail.
I'm pretty sure that
snail her.
Okay, I'll look because I'm pretty sure that I could have swore we followed each other.
That's possible. I think we do, but who knows? It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, we're following each other. Or I'm following you anyway. I don't know. I have to look. Hold on. I will. I was pretty sure you were though.
Watch, now we find out she's not actually following you.
Probably.
No, I don't think she is. I don't think she is following me.
Fixed.
So, Main Gun, how are you? Is that how you pronounce it, Main Gun? Okay.
He's still sitting with a muted mic. I don't think he's quite here yet.
We do need Satan. What's up, man? The link's right there. Hop on in if we need Satan. Give us a little bit of Satan, sir.
Oh yeah, get your squirrely ass in here.
So it was. I'm gonna go back to Answers in Genesis real quick and see if we can find something silly to laugh at.
Oh, that shouldn't be hard.
No, it shouldn't be at all.
They post silly stuff like 6 times a day.
Let's see what there is in creation.
Oh God, that's just gonna make my brain hurt. Oh, they say.
You all bitches need Satan.
Hell yeah, we do. The more, the better.
Oh.
How are you today, sir?
I am doing good, oh stinky one.
I am the stinking atheist.
I have decided to forego any kind of logical reason or even polite conversation and just troll the fuck out of any theist on Twitter. I'm done.
I've noticed it's been enjoyable.
I was arguing with the guy this morning. He was trying to equate, or he was trying to say that telling someone to mow their yard or pull their weeds was a moral issue. I'm like, what? Like, are you fucking? I'm like, that has nothing to do with morals. I'm like, that's an opinion or your preferred, your whatever you prefer. That's not a fucking. And then he went into the there's no morals without God spiel and blah blah blah. I'm like, oh Jesus, whatever.
Yeah. I love when they do that, and when they do that, I go, I bet you hate fags and gays and you don't like minorities either, huh?
Right.
And they get really pissed about that.
Yeah, they.
And I'm like, it's all the same. Pulling weeds, killing gays. If they're fucking witches, burn them.
Yeah. Get rid of the problem. And they don't want to deal with it. Get rid of the problem. That's what I don't understand is how can Christianity be touted as the most loving and forgiving religion when they are some of the most hateful fucking bigots in the world? Like, I mean, I don't like everything in the world, but that I'm not, but I'm honest about it. At least I'm not going to fucking hide behind some fucking crazy 2,000-year-old Bronze Age text to fucking tell me what's right and wrong.
I've noticed that even the nice Christians, they're basically just like SJ, sugar-coated fucking hate.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, a lot of them, I mean, by simply being a human being and subjected to whatever environment you're subjected, you're going to have biases. You're going to have things you don't like. You're going to have shit that's ingrained in you that you just can't deal with.
Right.
And a lot of people can't accept the fact that, you know what, you're going to fucking hate something somehow.
Right. You're robot.
To say, fucking internet.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I mean, everybody has prejudices of some kind. I mean, a lot of people would never admit that, but they're fucking fools. They're liars if they won't admit they have some sort of prejudice against somebody somewhere. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Everybody has some kind of prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and some of them prejudices are they're very real and they're they have a reason for them prejudices. You can't, I mean, if they're unfounded, I would never hate someone for the color of their skin or for their sexuality. But like, if you're a fucking gangbanger and you cause trouble, you beat women, yeah, I'm gonna hate you. I'm prejudiced against that kind of people. There's nothing wrong with that. Them are fucking horrible people. You know what I mean? I don't hate people
anyone
for
who
who
follows
they are.
me on Twitter knows my prejudice is willful ignorance and stupidity.
Yes. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is fucking willful. And the thing is there's no reason why people should just, argue. If you don't know something, fucking admit you don't know it and learn about it. Or if you're going to argue with someone, learn more about the facts before you fucking start throwing your opinion in there. Don't argue about shit you don't know about. You know what I mean? It just makes you look like a fool.
Exactly. That's why I don't talk about evolution. I don't argue about morality or ethics because I don't know shit about those topics because I'm willfully ignorant of a lot of it. But the shit that I do know, fuck it.
Right. I have some atheist friends that are like, do you guys know who Strike is and them guys, that little crew? Does anybody know who I'm talking about? Well, them guys are fucking, very, very intelligent people. And they start talking about like astronomy and fucking physics and shit. And I'm like, whoa, man. Like, I sometimes feel like I don't even belong on their streams. I'm just there for comic fodder. Because I have nothing to add. I'm not I'm a smart guy, but not that kind of smart.
Is Strike the new atheist, the woman who's a physicist or something?
No, that's Scientist Mel.
That's no. There's a new one. Well, maybe she's not streaming yet. There's a new woman on Twitter. I thought her handle was something like Strike. She's an atheist who's a physicist.
No, Strike's a dude from New Jersey, so that's a different person, obviously. But
yeah,
the only shit, The only lady I know that's a scientist is Scientist Mel. You know who she is, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, she's pretty brilliant too. Do you guys know who Jackson Wheat is? If you want to learn about evolution, yeah, he's a very, very smart kid. I call him a kid because he's like only like 21. So, I mean, but he's a kid, you know.
Yeah,
he's a
qualifies.
Welcome, Main Gun. You have anything to say, brother?
I think so. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome.
Doing good. Thank you. I'm just having
is it
mic
Main
issues.
Gun then? Having mic issues? Is it the Main Gun? Is that what you go by? Do you have a preference on what you'd like to be called?
Nah, Main Gun is fine.
Okay.
Main or Gun or shithead, I don't care.
Just not late for supper, right?
Yeah, I've been called worse.
Yeah, so have I. Much, much worse.
So, nah, I just
actually. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll tell you in a minute.
No, I was just gonna say I was just having mic issues trying to get Windows to recognize my goddamn mic.
I was streaming. When we first started streaming. Like, I was telling Crimson that fucking we just started talking and my neighbor my roommate hit the breaker, and I'm like, I lost everything. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then he yelled up. He's like, hey, did you lose power upstairs? I'm like, yeah, I did. He's like, sorry, man, I hit the wrong breaker. I'm like, it's so I had to wait for my computer to reboot. Since it shut everything off, I had to reboot everything. I'm like, it's taking forever.
I floundered around on my own for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I was talking and then I was like, wait a minute, no one's here.
Ain't technology great?
Lovely. No, but
do your homework, Snell?
No. I gotta get it done.
Snail.
Bad. No,
bad snail.
No,
just call me Captain Procrastinator.
Yeah.
If I can put off something, I always will.
Well, this is putting off my homework too.
When you do.
But this is a good use of time.
Is it like actual homework, like going to school kind of homework?
No, it's I signed up for a little online 1-month course that's on the New Testament.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yep, you gotta have.
It's going to take you about 3 months to get it done.
What'd you say?
It's going to take you about 3 months to get it done if you keep procrastinating.
Probably. I don't think I have that long. I think I'm going to have to spend this afternoon getting it done.
Yeah, that's. I got up to the point where I have to fucking defend the Q argument, even though it's hopelessly defenseless. And I'm thinking, fuck, I'd rather masturbate with a cheese grater.
So that's cool that you're studying the new. I think that drives Christians nuts that atheists actually take the time to study our opponents, while they don't even take the time to bother to learn what the fucking word atheism means. They think it means, I don't know what they think it means, but like Christians are woefully ignorant of what an atheist is.
Well, I will admit to eating babies. You get that right.
Yeah.
And babies are
Nature's
delicious.
Cheeseburgers.
Babies are delicious. I don't know.
Babies are human veal.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically.
They're delicious. But I don't see what the problem is.
Did you find another article?
There's all kinds of stuff on old Ken on the Answers in Genesis. Have you guys ever been to the Answers in Genesis website?
All the time. That is a fucking gold mine of entertainment.
It is. Like some people, to me, it's a comedy website. So I enjoy it. I always enjoy a good chuckle. Always enjoy a good chuckle. All right. Ooh, this one looks interesting. It's about Nobel Prize. It's about the Nobel Prize in chemistry. Okay, Nobel Prize evolution. The New York Times ran an article about 3 winners of this year's Nobel Prize in Chemistry, which were announced on October 3rd, 2018. All 3 winners, Francis H. Arnold, George P. Smith, and Gregory P. Winter, were awarded for their work in evolutionary science. Half the prize and the accompanying $1 million prize money went to Francis H. Arnold, a professor of chemical engineering at the California Institute of Technology, for her work on developing new enzymes through induced mutations. The other half of the prize was shared by George P. Smith, an emeritus professor of biological sciences at the University of Missouri, and Gregory P. Winter, a biochemist at MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in England. Both worked with bacteriophages, viruses that infect bacteria, to identify unknown genes. Smith, and to develop antibodies. Winter. Now, what I find fascinating is the Royal Swedish Academy of Science Nobel Prize's press release announcing the winners of the shared prize in chemistry. Look how often intelligent design and input is equated with randomness in an attempt to emphasize molecules to man evolutionary process. Let me list a few quotes used throughout the press release to describe the 2 winners' research. All right, but before I go on, I get a kick out of I get a kick out of how they once again they're trying to equate science with religion. Like, look at how these people are denying our God with their science. I think it bugs the shit out of them, because you have to be an idiot to look at science and not see that, oh yeah, there is a fucking pattern. Oh, look at that. That does seem to explain this or this or this. And I mean, really, what can they argue about? I mean, the evidence was right in front of you. You know?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, you can ignore all the evidence you want to. Just because it's in front of you doesn't mean you have to believe it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like they're like, I mean, like I that's what I'm talking about. Their dishonesty, though. I mean, the evidence is there. They could look at it, but I mean, they won't, because they want to believe what they want to believe. We can. So, I mean, it's fruitless. I mean, really, it's fun, but it's fruitless. Us arguing with Christians all the time, because they're not going to change their minds. They're not at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm just going to be a troll. I give a fuck.
Right.
See, and I'll disagree with that conclusion that they won't change their mind, because I changed my mind. But of course, I wasn't an anti-evolutionary Christian. I was a Catholic. We believe in science.
Yeah, you're right. They do.
The Christians we engage on Twitter will not change their mind.
No.
I mean, there's people on the fence, and I hope we do change their mind. That's why I try not to be too much of a dick. I mean, if a Christian asks me a question with a genuine, wanting to know, then I'll have a conversation. I have no problem with having conversations with them on a civil level. It's just when they start feeling persecuted, or start using ad homs instead of evidence, then that's when it just gets thrown all out the window. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to hear something funny? Yesterday, do you guys know who Wayne Levi Price is? He's a YouTuber, Christian.
No.
He's a weird. Check him out. He's a weird one, but he seems like a genuinely nice guy. And I was in one of their streams, and I was in the chat. I didn't say anything mean. I was just listening. I'm like, they were talking, and I'm like, hey, I'm an atheist, and I'm just here to listen, And they're like, they stopped the stream, and they said, hey, everybody, we have an atheist in the chat. I want everybody to pray for Brother Mole. They stopped the stream and fucking prayed for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh my God. But I wasn't a dick about
it. It's like, this will convert them.
Yeah, I mean, see, I don't mind if they're being genuinely, if they're genuinely concerned. I mean, yeah, they think I'm going to hell, whatever, But they weren't. As long as they're not being a dick about my atheism, I'm not going to be a dick back to them about their Christianity. I'll just listen. I may, roll my eyes while I'm listening and shit like that, but I'm not going to be outwardly a dick to them until they're a dick to me first, So, but I just like to go in and listen. Now, I mean, if I would have said, hey, I'm just here to listen, you know, and they're like, you know, they said something stupid, then I would have fucking probably said something. But you know, if they're cool, then I'll be cool. There's no sense in starting a fight for no. But you're right. On Twitter is a different story. Now, Twitter trolling is genuinely fun because them are the SJs and the, you know, them and the Inches of Genesis. They're not going to change their mind. They are fun to troll.
True.
They are definitely fun to troll. All right. Now here's some of the quotes. Prince Arnold utilized the fact that the subtilicin breaks down milk protein casein. She then selected the variant of substilin that was most effective in breaking down casein in the solution. With 35% DMF, she subsequently introduced a new round of random mutations in the subtilicin, which yielded a variant that worked even better in DMF. In the third generation, it's just explaining a bunch of science shit. I really, you know, don't understand any of the science stuff. But anyway, but regarding to Dr. Winter's research, he followed up on George Smith's work and inserted the gene for producing an antibody into which the phages and then examined variants of these antibodies, selecting the ones that bound most effectively to the target protein. Dr. Winters then continued to mutate the gene and discarded ones that did not have strong attachments, which led to more effective antibodies. Now, all these scientists were described as having taken control of the evolution, or taking control of evolution, not the evolution, and used it for the greatest benefit to humankind. And they have revolutionized both chemistry and the development of new pharmaceuticals through directed evolution. But is there really any evolution in the Darwinian sense at work here? Frankly, if I were given an award for some great scientific achievement and then told that it would be equated to chance, random processes which were unguided by intelligence, I'd be a little offended. All these scientists use their brilliant God-given intellect to theorize, problem solve, and to design experiments, replicate and catalog their research, which is being used for the development of new technologies to produce biofuels and drugs to help cure disease. You see how they're trying to they don't see when science they don't mind science. It's just they want to give God credit for the science. They're saying, "Oh, look, this is so amazing that, you know, God gave us this great mind to come up with these great ideas." You know, what do you guys think of their reaction to or Ken Ames? Would you be offended? Would you guys be offended?
God given. Facts not in evidence.
Special pleading argument from ignorance.
And then he goes on to say, our own geneticist, Dr. Georgia Purdom, stated in a recent interview regarding Dr. Arnold's Nobel-winning research. First of all, I think it's funny that she's trying to argue with they won the Nobel Prize, so obviously they're doing something that's a little above your league, Dr. Georgia Purdom, or else you'd have won a fucking Nobel Prize. But she says, for evolution, if you're going to go from one kind of organism to another, you have to not just make a protein work a little bit better or a little bit differently. You've got to make entirely new proteins. Her work doesn't show that at all. This has nothing to do with random chance. She's the one shifting around the parts of the DNA and making these proteins better. Rather than showing the power of evolution, these Nobel winners show that intelligent designs and directed effort was needed to accomplish anything beneficial to humanity. There is no power of naturalistic evolution to create anything demonstrated here.
Say what?
Somebody give me a gun!
I know. The cognitive dissonance is strong with this one. I wonder about that. We were talking about that earlier. Do you know, you guys watching this is the Genesis, you know who Dr. Georgia Purdom is, right?
Yes.
Okay, she's an actual doc. I mean, she actually has a PhD. So, like, I wonder, like, how hard that is for her to compartmentalize her education and knowing the truth. I mean, because she obviously had to learn this stuff to get a degree, and then shut that off and fucking put on her Christian glasses. I mean, that I would think that would be tough. You know?
I don't think that's hard for her at all. I really don't. Because people are very, very, they compartmentalize all the damn time.
Sure.
And it's a knee-jerk response. If it does not agree with my preconceived notion of what is, then it's wrong by default.
I actually went to college. Am I speaking? I actually went to college. Yes. There it goes. What is wrong with this damn thing? I actually went to college. One of my friends in college turned out to be a Jehovah's Witness, which I didn't know.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's going through the wrong mic again. Was a Jehovah's Witness, which I didn't know before I went to college. She studied biochemistry and is now teaching it. Answers all the questions correctly, can fully explain all of it, and she doesn't believe any of it. She says, or so she claims. She's like, no, God does all of this. This is all nonsense, but this is what I have to do my job. And if you don't talk to her about religion, she sounds perfectly sane and normal. You get God into the conversation, and she sounds batshit.
Yeah, they all do. they have no choice because it is batshit crazy.
Yeah, no, it's super weird.
I would love to I interview you sometime, Snail, and talk to you about your deconversion. I do that sometimes. I interview atheists and just talk about how they became atheists. So if you'd like to do that sometime, that'd be awesome. I'd like to hear about your deconversion. I wasn't raised very religiously, but I was also raised Catholic. I didn't have to go to Catholic school or anything, but they made me go to catechism, outside of school hours and shit like that to learn about it.
Yeah, me too. I didn't go to Catholic school. I did CCD in Sunday school and all of that.
Yeah, yepper.
Even thought about being a nun once.
Really? Oh, that'd be horrible.
Yes. I wouldn't
want to be a nun.
I wanted to be
Go ahead.
I wanted to be a Jesuit. I really, 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 really wanted to be a Jesuit priest, but geez, they don't let women do it, which probably saved me from being a crazy person.
Right. I have a friend. I have a friend. He's from Southside Chicago, and he was he was learning to be a Jesuit priest. This guy is a conundrum. I mean, me and him. I say friend, but I use that term loosely. We used to work together, and we hung out sometimes. But he was a fucking socialist, and he was a strange dude. I mean, he was really cool as long as we didn't talk about politics and shit. He was a good guy, but other than that, he was a strange fella. One of the strangest fellows I've ever met, really. Yes, he was a strange fella. He was strange. All right, let's see. Find another article, see what they have. Okay. Oh, this one's about plant evolution. This looks interesting. All right. Plants evolved to produce fruit colors that attract certain animals. A recent CBC news story caught my eye. What is that, Canadian Broadcasting? CBC?
Probably.
Or Christian Broadcasting.
Could be it.
That's possible too. That may be because the monkey in the article's first picture is not going for the bananas. Or that I was thinking I would make sure to thoroughly wash any of those fruits the monkey was walking over before eating. But it seems that researchers studying plants in Uganda and Madagascar have found that plants seem to produce fruits in colors matching what the local animals that eat can easily see. That makes sense. There are various types of plants which are similar in both countries, even though they are over 1,000 miles apart and separated by an ocean. But both countries have large regions that are mountainous and covered in rainforest, which means that similar plants, the Associated Journal article mentions that the plants are from the same genera and families that thrive in those environments, are going to be more common in both locations due to similar ecological conditions. So the researchers noticed that most fruits in Uganda, mainly in Africa, ripen to a red color and are fed on primarily by birds and monkeys. However, in Madagascar, these same types of fruit are green or yellow, but a different green compared to the leaves. The fruits are eaten mostly by lemurs, according to the CBC article. The majority of birds and monkeys have color vision similar to humans, but lemurs can't tell the difference between green and red. So to them, a red berry would be hard to tell from a green leaf. But as much brighter or duller color of green would stand out to them as would yellow coloring, which they can see. In addition, another more recent news item from some of the same researchers mentioned that for lemurs, fruit scent may also play a role in their preference for selecting which fruits to eat. Now, many plants depend upon animals to eat their fruits and then disperse their seeds and their droppings. Otherwise, the plant cannot reproduce. Now, in this study, they mentioned the idea that scientists have debated about whether plants evolved to produce fruits of particular color to attract particular animals to help them spread their seeds. And first of all, plants don't anticipate and plan and then make changes to their genes in order to evolve new fruit colors. Secondly, this is not pond scum to people evolution at all, but natural selection at work. If such a plant doesn't produce fruit in a color or scent that attracts animals to eat it and disperse its seeds, that plant goes extinct. Exactly. That's exactly. They don't want. They just don't want to admit its evolution. Essentially, they just don't want to. Of course, plants may not. How did they word that? They don't. They don't anticipate and plan to make changes to their genes. No evolution is planned and anticipated. It's just whatever works the best wins and sticks around. Whatever doesn't work dies out. So I don't
understand. See, they can't accept that there is no end goal.
Yeah.
They want humans to be the perfect end results.
Right.
And accepting evolution makes it we're not the end result.
Yeah, they want us to be the end all be all. It goes on to say what this shows is that plant kinds were divinely created with a great deal of genetic diversity, enabling them to produce fruit, flowers, and leaves of many different colors. Jesus, who created all plants, John 1:1 to 1:3.
Well, you know what? Fuck Jesus because of broccoli.
Yeah. Jesus had a head of broccoli.
No, broccoli's completely our fault.
Isn't he up to lettuce now?
Yeah. I can't believe that lettuce to fucking prove evolution was wrong. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But the grapes one was pretty funny too.
Oh, he did grapes? I missed that.
Like it's hard to watch because like the first 25 minutes of video is just pretty much him fucking begging for money and asking, if you guys we really could use a new truck. So if anybody wants to donate a truck, I'm like, Jesus.
Didn't he get a whole buttload of land donated to him?
I think so, yeah. I think that's how. I mean, I'm not sure how he acquired the land he has, where he's at. Where is he? Down in Alabama somewhere?
Yeah, I think so.
Out in the sticks. But yeah, I mean, he had just got out of prison and restarted his ministry right away because, he had nothing when he got out because, good old Eric Hovind in his good Christian ways fucking stole his dad's fucking, stole all his holdings and assets and fucking claimed him as his own. That was mighty Christian of him.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. But I think I get a kick out of that. I think that's kind of funny that he's fucking. He probably what happened was Ken probably was in all that trouble, so he thought, well, I'll sign all my holdings all over to my oldest son, and they'll be safe. Daddy goes to prison. He gets out and realizes Eric ain't giving his shit back to Daddy, so fucking he had to start all over.
Then his wife leaves him, and
then he got married again, and she left him.
Oh, dude! If only my life was as dumpster fire as his. Although I will admit, I do have all of his videotapes. I've had them for years, and
wow.
Just fucking I got him in I forget exactly when I got him. My sister sent them to me in the mail in the fucking 90s, but back when VHS was viable. And I would just watch them and sit there and devised these little fucked up drinking games every time he said something that was obviously stupid, and I wouldn't make it through an entire video and I would just be hammered. You know, and then he's like, I taught high school biology for 15 years. Never stepped foot in a fucking high school.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't teach a Christian
didn't
school?
teach anything.
No, he
didn't teach
taught he taught in basements in churches. Look, he paid for his doctoral thesis. I have a doctorate in divinity. I bought the motherfucker.
Yeah, anybody can get one of them. You just got to pay for the licensing fee, right? Has anybody ever read his thesis? It's like
no, I would love to.
Like 2.5 pages long. I think a buddy of mine has a PDF of it. If I can find it, I'll send it to you.
Oh, definitely.
I would love it. 2.5-page thesis.
It is hilarious.
I thought
That's the introduction.
I could have sworn that he had the longer thesis that breaks down into weird poetry in the middle, doesn't it?
I don't remember that, but no one can't hold it. Who knows?
I don't know. I think I remember Logic reading it in one of his debunk series and laughing because he was referencing the page. It's apparently quite crazy.
I would definitely love to see that. I would probably even pay money for the PDF.
You should text Logic. I bet he has it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does. I was so excited when I seen Logic brought back fucking John Pendleton. I was like, oh yes!
I miss Pendleton so much.
My favorite automotive scientist, dental hygienist, Christian
chemist.
Yeah, chemist. He lives in Mexico. He's probably cooked meth or something for the cartel. That's where his chemist.
No. He worked in a paint factory that had a chemist lab.
Nice.
That's
his
claim to being a chemist.
He actually managed to graduate from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. It's terrifying.
There are a lot of people out there with degrees that aren't that bright. So.
Well, yeah.
You can't really equate education with intelligence. I mean, it just I've met people that aren't even high school graduates that are pretty fucking brilliant. You know, they just chose a different path in life.
Funnily enough, I have a degree, but I have no high school diploma. It's ironic, I think.
That is kind of ironic.
Well, I grew up in a really fucked up area of Ohio, which is now considered the meth capital of Western United States. And I went to an even more fucked up high school where basically, I mean, if you wasn't black, you were wrong. I went to Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. The population of the student body was massive, and only like literally 3% of the student body were white. And they didn't like you simply because you were white. And if you were in a substrata, like a skateboarder, you were even less liked. So I dropped out of high school and decided that I was just going to go downtown and skate the whole day and read my Bible and get arrested for skateboarding in Courthouse Square. And I never finished high school. Tried to finish high school, but they wouldn't let me.
So I take it you grew up in the 90s? Are you a 90s kid?
No, I'm older than that. I mean, okay, granted, I sound like an old
early 90s, late 80s, early 90s,
70s, 80s.
I was born in the 70s, but I grew up like my teenage years were early 90s on. Like high school, my first year of high school was 91, I believe. Yeah, 91.
I was already in the military blowing shit up in 91.
Yep, same here.
Oh, hey, chilled.
I mean, granted, I do sound like an acidic, bitter bastard that's got slight racist tendencies, but I'm not. I hate everyone with an equal intensity. I'm just,
Yeah.
If you're a human being and you're breathing, the only solace is eventually you're going to stop breathing. So, other than that, it's all fucking, Coke and pizza rolls, baby.
I don't think they would go very good. I don't never have much of a stomach to eat after doing cocaine. Makes food taste weird with your mouth all numb and shit.
You Ambien, and it does the same thing to you.
Really?
Makes everything taste fucked up.
That's strange. Ambien, you said?
Yes.
Huh. That's strange. I never knew that.
Well, I mean, you're not supposed to take it in mass quantities, and when you take 7 at a time, it kind of messes with you.
Well, I'm a recovered heroin addict, so I'm not good at following directions when it comes to drugs anyway. So, like, if it says take 1 by mouth every 4 hours, I always mix it around and take 4 by mouth every 1 hour.
Well, whatever works.
Yeah, if I have a box, then game on until I don't have a box. And if I've got, like, let's say I've got 12 things of cider in my refrigerator, almost guaranteed by tomorrow morning I'll have 3. Restraint is not in my nature.
Yeah, it took me a long time to learn to shy away from things I shouldn't do, but I finally learned. I haven't shot dope in April it'll be 6 years, so a little over 5 years. 6 years.
Good job.
Good job.
April 13th to be exact. Thank you. It was easier to kick a heroin habit than it is to quit smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, very true.
I don't think that surprises me.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising when you think about it, though. I mean, cigarettes you can buy from the store. I mean, you wouldn't think that, but scarily, it's true.
Mm-hmm. I just want to point out when we were talking about Hovind's dissertation earlier, Shane just dropped a link for it in the chat.
Oh, thank you, Shane.
Rock, Shane unit, rock.
Well, then we're all going to enjoy Kent's dissertation together. Then let's take a look.
Sadly, out that note, guys, got to get to bed. I work tonight.
All right, buddy.
So,
all right.
Good night.
I will catch you all later.
All right.
Later, Red.
Good night, buddy. All right, Patriot University. This already sounds like a mail-order university. Dissertation for Doctor of Philosophy in Christian Education. A project submitted to Dr. Wayne Knight. That must have been his mentor or whatever. When you're at undergrad, you usually have like a mentor, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, submitted by Kent Hovind, Pensacola, Florida, May 25th, 1991. Okay, a dedication page. I can think of many people who have been influential in the production of this book. Miss Kim Van Gundy spent countless hours typing, correcting, and retyping the manuscript. My mom and dad supplied the computer for this work to be done on. In 91, how old were his fucking mom? Jeez. There are many times they have financially supported my ministry. My wife has put up with me reading well into the night many, many times. She has also patiently let me spend hundreds of hours on the phone gathering information and scheduling meetings. In those hundreds of moments when I thought of not completing this work, she encouraged me to go on. My 3 children, Kent, Andrew, and Eric, and Marlissa, isn't that... Kent Andrew is one name. Okay, so it is 3 children. Have often traveled with me as I preach on the subject of dinosaurs in the Bible, which is laughable to see in the same sentence. That's not in there. I added that one. They have been a great help. I added the like Kent's always clearing his throat. They have been a great help to me as we set up and later pack up 3 tables full of books, bones, tapes, maps, and graphs for each meeting. Patriot University inspired me to continue my... That's a weird way to put it. The Patriot University inspired me to continue I read it right. My education by making it possible for me to study at my own pace and complete this thesis as I could. That's a good thing they did, Kent, because you suck at fucking writing. Hundreds of pastors and laymen have encouraged me to continue on in this unusual and unique ministry. Many science teachers and writers have left their mark in my life. Some of these have been evolutionists and some have been creationists.
Dear God.
Most of all, I must thank my Lord Jesus Christ for patiently working with me and equipping me for this work of the ministry. I marveled that he has counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry. Okay.
Can I just comment? Whoever,
sure,
I'm looking at this. Whoever helped him do this, the typing, didn't know how to use a freaking typewriter.
And I was thinking that too. I'm like, man, the sentence structure is so weird. There's too many spaces, and it's bad.
Well, look at the indents and how crooked the paper is. My God, if you presented this at a real university, they'd have thrown at you, even in '91.
Yeah, that's fine. Hello, my name is Kent Hovind. I am a creation science evangelist. I live in Pensacola, Florida. I have been a high school science teacher since 1976. I've been very active in the creation evolution controversy for quite some time. As an evangelist, God has given me the opportunity. I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's much longer than I anticipated. I must have just got like a condensed copy when I read it or something. Yeah, but there's some silly shit in here. In the 20th century, the major attack Satan has launched has been against the first 11 chapters of Genesis. He knows that the entire Bible stands or falls on the validity of these chapters. I believe that the Bible is infallible, inerrant, inspired, perfect word of God. I believe that the Bible needs to be read and believed as it stands. Christians are often guilty of neglecting or twisting the Bible to fit their lifestyle or their preconceived ideas. If that's not the pot calling the fucking kettle black, I don't know what is. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Well, I do agree that more Christians should actually read the whole thing from start to finish.
Oh my, that is thanks Shane. That is most certainly worth a look at. It's
I may actually do something fucked up with it and make some kind of YouTube video series where I'm smashed out of my mind reciting the goddamn thing like poetry. I have taught the word of God over 400 times while touching myself, shaving my back. Yea, hath God said? He started by questioning God's word in the Garden of Eden.
You're right. The fucking like the way that go down a little bit and like the way the page is lined up, it's got like an inch margin on the left hand side and like like a half inch on the right hand side. I'm like, what the hell?
And it's crooked on some pages.
Yeah. Oh, it's so crooked.
This you can actually say, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, a million monkeys with a million typewriters can achieve this work of art. Fuck Shakespeare. William, my dear man, fuck you.
You ain't got shit on Kent Hovind, buddy.
Kent Hovind's got it down pat. You're a hack, William. A hack, good sir.
This is the new tragic comedy.
Yeah.
And fuck Dante.
No.
Kent.
When I worship my Lord and Savior, I like to do it with lies out my ass.
And here's part of it. He says, in the last 22 years, I have read hundreds of books by creationists and evolutionists alike on the subject of origins. Many great thinkers and scientists have had an influence on me. Well, first of all, you haven't read any books on origins by evolutionists because evolution doesn't talk about origins. It talks about evolution. But anyway, let's see what other little nuggets of wisdom is in here. I'm just scanning through it.
Here's one. Macroevolution would be defined as changing into a different kind of animal. There is no similarity between microevolution and macroevolution. Many evolutionists will use microevolution trying to prove that macroevolution is true. Also, when I shave my back with a rusty razor, I kind of cut myself.
I've had some of these idiots try to tell me that oh well, you have to believe in life coming from a rock in order to believe in evolution, and I try to tell them that evolution describes what life does, not where it came from, what it does.
That's abiogenesis. Yeah. They like to clump everything together because it fits their narrative easier.
I don't have to know where my car, what factory my car was manufactured in, to know what the hell the engine does.
Right. You know, exactly.
It's ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. But they can't disconnect those two because it's all part of their. It's all part of the stupid that they've swallowed.
Yep, and surprisingly enough, Kent said something that was sort of truthful at the beginning of the dissertation. He was saying that he said that the Bible, like the validity of the first 11 chapters of the Bible, it either fails or succeeds. And in a way, he's right. Religion, if you take one piece out of the puzzle, it crumbles. I mean, it's so precarious that if you don't believe a certain way, it totally falls apart. Your beliefs are useless. Am I making sense? Does that make sense? Like what I'm trying to say? Like that's why they stick their fingers in their ears and go la 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 la, because they don't want to hear anything that's the truth, because then that will shatter their preconceived notion of what the world is. And I guess that would be a better way of putting it. What I was trying to say.
True.
Yeah,
like,
especially.
Knowledge is a rock, and they live in a glass house.
Right. Yeah.
Especially the versions of Christianity that are creationists. The glass house is a little harder to break for the ones that actually accept science. Probably why it took me so long to get out.
Now, okay, I got a question for you. Like, since I was never. I've always pretty much been an atheist. Like I said, my parents pretended to be religious, and they sent me to catechism class. I think they did it more out of, I don't know why they did it. They weren't religious. We never went to church. I've pretty much always been atheist. Now, did you at one time buy into religion? So you were an actual practicing Catholic?
Yes.
What was the catalyst that? What made you make the shift? What was the start?
Oh my God. The start was really long. So I call myself the atheistic now because depending on how you count how long it took me to figure out that I didn't believe, you're talking 20 to 30 years. The first starting point that I can identify, though, was when I was 7 or 8, and I was in the basement of my church, and a church member told me that my mother was Lutheran and my father was Catholic. My mom converted to marry my dad, but she was never very religious. Dad was. But in the basement of a church, another church member, I can't remember if it was a man or woman, I know it wasn't the father, told me that my beloved grandmother and aunt were going to hell to burn in it for eternity because they were Lutheran. And I knew right then and there that whatever God that person believed in, I absolutely did fucking not. And that planted the first seeds. And I can remember even as a teenager when I was thinking about becoming a nun thinking, well, I don't believe in that version of God, and that one makes no sense, and that one makes no sense. And then it kind of fell away over the years, and I was Christian but not Catholic, and then spiritual but not Christian, and long tail.
Okay, I was just wondering, what flips the switch in people that are, that's what I mean. Like obviously growing up all along, you've seen things that made you skeptical. You've seen oh shit, well that doesn't really coincide with what I'm told in church, or this. So that has to happen to everybody that goes to church. They have. Just like we're subjected to Christianity in some form in Western society, they're also subjected to other forms in Western society, like science and stuff like that. So they have to see the evidence. They just don't want to look at it. You know what I mean? And I wonder sometimes, I mean, how can they ignore the truth when it's right in front of them? I was just curious about that. I didn't understand how that worked.
Yeah, you just divide it up in your head. It's God is over here, and school and science, and this is over here. And until you actively start looking at it, they're in different places in the brain, so it doesn't really show up as a conflict until you start really thinking about it, if that makes sense. At least that's how it worked in my brain.
Right.
Well, also, depending on how or like your situation in life or where you're at any given moment with, you know, in your lifespan, you might not make the correlation. And when you compartmentalize, you tend to forget that there's shit that you know is just not right, but you accept it regardless. And when you get to a certain degree and the correlation's made, you're like, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Let me look in this a little bit, you know, further. And then, you know, the light bulb starts to slowly come on. But until then, you know, it's perfectly acceptable believing in Christianity or whatever religion and reality at the same time. If I'm losing my thought here because I'm halfway hammered.
No, that actually, in your hammered state, you made more sense than a lot of people.
So are you saying like you kind of like go through life and you try not to look into things too much, so it doesn't cause that cognitive dissonance?
Well, it's more or less a comfort level, in my experience. If you have a rather comfortable existence, your life is rather okay. That cognitive dissonance is not really there. You never really examine it. It's like your reality doesn't change for hardly anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's when. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
It's like when people tell me, it's like, you know, hey, you know, you could believe in God and in reality at the same time, and there's no conflict. And I always go, well, I tell you what, you stop believing in God and see if your reality changes. Then stop believing medicine works and get back to me.
Right.
Exactly.
So, were you religious? Were any of the rest of you religious growing up? Were you religious?
I'm still technically religious.
You roboted a little bit. I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I'm still technically an ordained minister in 2 different religions.
Oh, really? What religions were you raised? What religion were you raised as? Or what were you predominantly?
Southern Baptist.
Ooh. You know, Southern Baptists.
Yep.
So what was the turning point for you when you became an atheist?
Shit. It took a long time. It took well over a decade. But the starting point was Bible college, and then a large tipping point was the military.
I can see that. So you actually went to Bible college then? Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't understand. I don't see any like Christians could read the Bible, you know, like actually read the Bible, and then come out the other side with the same beliefs they held before. Like, I mean, they got to see that their God is an evil, vindictive monster, you know, and like, I don't get, like, I just don't understand how they can believe any. I mean, it's such silly. Not. I mean, that'd be like you know, that'd be like modern day people believing in Zeus or Thor. I mean, they're just silly, mythical, made up stories. You know, it's something. It was made up back when we didn't have explanations for anything, and I don't understand how something that silly can be so prevalent 2,000 years later. Like, wow. I mean, it's really mind-boggling. I mean, break the Bible down into its basic components. It's such a silly, silly story, you know?
Well, it depends on the Bible college and what type of seminary it is. If it's an evangelical college or whatnot that's predicated on the inerrancy of the Word of God, then you're not getting anything scholarly or anything of substance. And if it's not one of those seminaries, then nobody will look at you, and it's not really considered Bible college, I guess you could call it. I don't know. But if it's an inerrancy evangelical college, then you can forget any kind of scholarly study or anything to that degree.
Yeah. So in Bible college, I got a question. I wonder about this. Like, there's obvious contradictions in the Bible. How did they go about teaching or to go around them contradictions? I mean, they have to notice them. If they've actually read the Bible, they have to realize that some parts contradict other parts. How do they go about teaching around that in Bible college?
Well, they teach apologetics, and basically it's making the Bible say what the Bible don't say. They won't admit openly that there's contradictions in the Bible, but any biblical scholar that's worth their salt will tell you undoubtedly there are contradictions within the scriptures, but to a larger or lesser degree, these contradictions don't interfere with the message of salvation. And there are parts of the Bible that you cannot harmonize. The Synoptic Gospels, the Magic Man Gospel of John, in correlation with Paul's Christianity and the time of Jesus's birth. Who was it Quirinius or was it Herod who was in control at the time? When did Jesus die? Did he die before the Passover supper, after the Passover? Who bought Potter's Field? Did Judas buy Potter's Field, or did the priests buy Potter's Field? How can Jesus be of David's bloodline when Joseph is not his biological father? Things like this. It might be minor variants in manuscripts, or it might be, but there are some things that you cannot harmonize that simply come from the fact that the Bible was cobbled together over centuries from oral tradition and liars.
Right. I mean, I just don't. I was like, I guess what I was getting at is like, how do they get around the fact that God's word, the Bible's supposed to be infallible? Infallible means there's no mistakes. The contradictions are obviously mistakes. So, I mean, how do they? That's what I guess I was getting at, is how do they get around the fact that the Bible's supposed to be both infallible?
You change the definitions of words. You make the words mean different things. When it talks about, let's say it talks about monkeys, it's really talking about orangutans from the planet Mars. And the only way you could discern this is with the Holy Ghost goggles of seeing, which magically allows you to, make these contradictions go away.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
So they just retcon the shit out of it then, basically.
Basically. In a nutshell, it's like, look, we know it's fucked up, but hey, I have a workaround, because the Holy Spook says 2 + 2 is really 4.8 in an alternate universe. So I'm right. And that's like apologetics is basically I like to call apologetics the study of lies. You study a lie and you craft a lie and you make the lie sound plausible, and your less intelligent folks are going to buy the lie. And that's why apologists are so big on Twitter and YouTube and television.
Right. Yeah, and it's just, I would say, what do you think of the last 10 years that the evangelical movement has gained traction, speed? Like, I don't remember hearing about any of the stuff in the 90s or anything. Like, but then again, the internet was prevalent in the 90s, so there wasn't no way to get information, I suppose.
Exactly. The internet has given voice to all the stupid, basically.
Yeah. Unfortunately. It's both a blessing and a curse.
It's the double-edged sword, but the internet, I think the benefit of showing it is massively outweighing the curse, because all the stats show everything is on the way down. I mean, the number of evangelicals is down, the number of Catholics, everything is down. And I think it's because people can look out there and go, wait, that doesn't quite make sense, but I can look for myself. I don't have to ask my priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the internet's given a voice to stupid, but it's also given a voice to us.
Exactly. Right. And you know, people like me who aren't out anywhere but on here. So.
Right. The pros definitely do outweigh the cons, that's for sure. That is sure.
I hate to be a second party pooper, but I'm gonna have to jump out too, because my neighbor has decided to skeet shoot, and it's which is fun, and I'm glad he does it. But he's supposed to warn me, and now I have craziness going on in my house.
America.
I was just getting ready. I need to get ready. I need to wrap up anyway. I got to do some stuff before I go to work. So, I want to thank you all for coming. Main Gun, if you would ever like to come on again, you're more than welcome to come on any time.
Appreciate
I'd actually like to set up a time to interview you guys. I like to interview people on my channel. I like to interview atheists. So if I could get with guys at some point and interview you, that'd be great. You have a Twitter, Main Gun?
No, I don't twit.
Okay. Well,
good man.
Just, yeah. If I see you in any chats, or if I'm ever streaming again, hop on and we'll get together and maybe set up a time. I want to thank you all for coming. Does anybody want to have a channel or anything they'd like to show before we go?
I have a channel, but I'm completely inactive on it. So
I have no content and like half a dozen subscribers, and I have no idea why.
Because they're waiting for you to do something.
I'm gonna be doing a small series called Life with Mouse, where I basically bitch at my cat while he sits there and does nothing.
It sounds riveting. Absolutely riveting.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on, and I've seen a lot of new people in the chat. I thank you guys for coming. I'd like to see you again. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe, and everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thanks, man. Appreciate what you're doing. And remember, boys and girls, the more you know, the less I have to tell you.